The University of Chicago Law Library smelled like old paper and broken dreams. I sat in my usual spot, third floor, northwest corner, overlooking the quad, staring at a torts textbook that might as well have been written in Sanskrit for all the sense it made to me anymore. My MacBook was open beside it, but instead of case briefs, the screen showed lines of code. Beautiful, logical, purposeful code that actually made sense, unlike the legal doctrine I was supposed to be memorizing for tomorrow's exam. Dude, you're gonna fail Hendrick's class if you keep coding during study time. My study partner, Marcus, peered over my shoulder. What even is that? It's an algorithm for spatial audio processing, I said, minimizing the window reluctantly. Basically, it can isolate and enhance specific voices in a crowded room based on English, please. For us future lawyers who'll be making real money. I laughed, but it felt hollow. It's for an app I'm building, to help people with hearing difficulties focus on conversations in noisy environments. Cool hobby. Now can we please focus on proximate cause? Hobby. That word followed me everywhere. When I'd shown my parents my first app in high school, a simple calendar that synced family schedules, it was a cute hobby. When I'd won the state computer science competition, it was a nice hobby that would look good on college applications. When I'd spent my gap year interning at a startup instead of prepping for the LSAT, it was a risky hobby that needed to end. Law school was the compromise, the path that made sense to the Okonkwo family. My older brother Samuel was a surgeon. My sister Adiz was finishing her residency in pediatrics. And I would be the lawyer, completing the Nigerian immigrant parent trifecta of acceptable careers. David's going to be our Supreme Court justice. My mother would tell her friends at church, beaming with premature pride. Full scholarship to University of Chicago Law, just like his father planned. My father, who'd driven cabs for 15 years to put us through school. Who'd taught himself English by reading legal textbooks he bought secondhand. Who'd named me David because King David was both warrior and poet, fighter and creator. I wondered what he'd think if he knew his David wanted to create with code, not fight with words. The breaking point came during spring semester of my 2L year. I'd been selected for law review, a supreme honor, everyone said. A guaranteed path to big law firms and six-figure starting salaries. My family threw a party. But that same week, I'd also received an email that made my heart race in a way legal writing never had. A small company called Auditory Labs wanted to license my audio processing algorithm. They'd found my GitHub repository, seen the potential applications for their hearing aid technology. The licensing fee wasn't huge, $50,000, but it was validation. Real money for something I'd created. You can't seriously be considering this, Adiz said when I told her I was thinking of taking a leave of absence to develop the technology further. Do you know how many people would kill for your spot at UFC? Do you know how many lawyers hate their jobs? I countered. That's not the point. You have obligations. To mom and dad. To yourself. To everyone but what I actually want to do. She looked at me the way doctors look at patients making bad decisions. What you want is a luxury. What you need is a career. The family intervention happened the next weekend. They ambushed me at Sunday dinner. The whole clan gathered around my parents' dining room table like it was a tribunal. Uncle Emeka had driven in from Milwaukee. Aunt Chioma canceled her shift at the hospital. Even my cousins were there, presumably as cautionary tales or success stories, depending on which side they'd taken. We are here because we love you, my mother began, which is never how good conversations start. And because we are concerned about your future. I have a 3.8 GPA, I said. I'm on law review. How concerned can you be? Your brother tells us you want to quit, my father said quietly. His quiet was always more dangerous than my mother's volume. To play with computers. To develop technology that could help millions of people with hearing impairment. To build a company around. To throw away your future. My mother's volume arrived right on schedule. 3 years of law school tuition. Full scholarship, remember? The opportunity, the prestige, the security. For what? To be like those boys in hoodies begging for money from investors. Those boys in hoodies are worth billions, Mom. And how many fail? How many waste their lives chasing digital dreams? Uncle Emeka leaned forward. David, I see these tech people at the hospital. Stress, no sleep, no stability. Is that what you want? As opposed to lawyers who work 80-hour weeks and have the highest rates of depression and substance abuse? Don't be smart, my father warned. I thought that's exactly what you wanted me to be. The room erupted. Everyone talking at once, voices climbing over each other. Statistics about lawyer salaries versus startup failure rates. Stories about cousins who'd chased dreams and ended up nowhere. Reminders about sacrifice, duty, family honor. Through it all, my phone buzzed with notifications from the coding forum where I'd posted my latest algorithm update. Developers from around the world, excited about the possibilities. Real enthusiasm for something I'd created, not manufactured pride for a path I'd never chosen. If you do this, my father said when the chaos finally settled, you do it alone. No support. No safety net. No coming back. You'd cut me off? For choosing a different career. For choosing selfishness over wisdom. For spitting on the opportunities we've provided. I looked around the table at their faces. My brilliant, successful, utterly conventional family. They loved me, I knew that. But they loved their idea of me more. David the lawyer. David the third pillar of respectability. David the proof that their sacrifices had meant something. Then I guess I do it alone, I said. The silence that followed was deafening. You're really going to throw your life away to play with computers? Samuel finally asked, disgust dripping from every word. Yes, I said. Yes, I am. I moved out that night, packing my stuff while my mother cried and my father maintained stony silence. Adiz tried one last time at the door. You're making a mistake you'll regret forever. Maybe. But at least it'll be my mistake. The first year was brutal. I'd banked the $50,000 from Auditory Labs, but Chicago rent ate through savings fast. I coded during the day and drove Uber at night, the irony of following in my father's footsteps not lost on me. I lived on ramen and determination, spending 18-hour days refining the app I'd codenamed Clarity. The concept had evolved, not just helping people with hearing difficulties, but creating an AI-powered audio environment that could adapt to any user's needs. Isolate voices in meetings. Enhance music for damaged frequencies. Real-time translation with preserved speaker emotion. My family maintained radio silence. I heard updates through friends, how they told people I was taking time to find myself or exploring options. Never the truth. Never that David had chosen computers over constitutional law. Year 2 got better. A tech incubator accepted Clarity, providing seed funding and mentorship. We won pitch competitions, gained users, iterated based on feedback. The technology grew more sophisticated, the applications broader. By year 3, we had venture capital interest. Not the massive rounds you read about in TechCrunch, but enough to hire a small team, to move from my apartment to actual office space. The breakthrough came in year 4. A Microsoft engineer discovered Clarity in the accessibility community. They weren't interested in competing. They wanted to integrate our technology into their entire ecosystem. Windows, Office, Teams, Xbox. Every Microsoft product could use our audio processing to become more accessible. The initial offer was $20 million. We negotiated for months. The final number made my hands shake as I signed the documents. $47 million. For playing with computers. Thanksgiving arrived 2 weeks after the deal closed. For 4 years, I'd spent the holiday with friends or alone, maintaining the family exile. But this year, my mother had called. David, it's your mother. As if I wouldn't recognize her voice. We're having Thanksgiving. The family. Everyone will be there. You could come. If you want. I almost said no. The wound was still raw, the years of silence still heavy. But something in her voice, a tremor that hadn't been there before, made me agree. The house smelled exactly the same. Jollof rice competing with turkey, chin-chin on every surface, the chaos of too many people in too small a space. I stood at the door holding a pie I'd bought last minute, feeling like a stranger at my own homecoming. David, my cousin Kemi saw me first. Oh my God, everyone, David's here. The reception was awkward. Hugs that lasted too long or not long enough. Questions about how I'd been that carefully avoided what I'd been doing. We sat for dinner, and I found myself at the kids' table. Apparently 4 years of exile denoted you from adult status. So, David, Uncle Emeka finally broached the subject over appetizers. Still doing your computer things? Still playing with computers, yes, I said, enjoying the way he flinched at the reminder. And is it sustainable? This app business. I serve myself more stuffing, taking my time. Actually, about that, I have some news. Oh, my mother's voice was carefully neutral. Microsoft bought my computer game last week. Silence. Bought? Samuel asked. Like hired you? No, bought. Acquired. The thing I built while playing with computers. For how much? Aunt Chioma always did have trouble with subtlety. I took a sip of wine, meeting my father's eyes for the first time in 4 years. $47 million. The sound my father made wasn't quite a choke, wasn't quite a gasp. It was the sound of a man realizing he'd bet on the wrong horse. Wine splattered across my grandmother's tablecloth as his glass hit the table. 47. My mother couldn't finish. Million. Pre-tax, of course. After capital gains and paying out my investors and team, I'll net about 30 million. But still. The room exploded again, but differently this time. Questions about the technology, about Microsoft, about what I'd do next. Suddenly everyone wanted to understand the nephew who'd thrown his life away. I don't understand, my father said when the chaos died down. You quit law school. You had nothing. I had an idea, and the freedom to pursue it because I wasn't trapped in someone else's definition of success. We could have helped, Adiz said quietly. If we'd known. You did know. I told you. You just didn't believe it was real until there was a price tag attached. That hurt, but truth often does. What will you do now? My mother asked. With all that money. First, pay off your mortgage. And Dad's car. And set up education funds for all the cousins. I watched their faces change. Then probably start another company. Turns out I like playing with computers. David, my father started, then stopped. For the first time in my life, I saw him struggle for words. I was wrong. The table went silent. Ebenezer Okonkwo admitting error was like witnessing a miracle. I was scared, he continued. I drove cabs so my children wouldn't have to struggle. When you chose struggle anyway, I thought I had failed. You didn't fail. You gave me the courage to take risks because I'd seen you take them. The difference is your risk was coming to America with nothing. Mine was leaving law school with everything. He nodded slowly. Your computer game. App, Dad. Or software. Not a game. Your app. What does it do? For the first time in 4 years, I explained my work to my father. Really explained it, not the simplified version I'd tried before. His eyes lit up when he understood the accessibility implications, the global reach, the potential to help people like his own father, who'd lost hearing in one ear during the war. So Microsoft will make this available to everyone? Everyone using their products, yes. Hundreds of millions of people. And you built this? Yourself. With a team, eventually. But yes, the core technology is mine. He was quiet for a moment. Then, King David was both warrior and poet. I forgot that when I named you. I wanted only the warrior. Maybe I'm the poet, I said. Just writing in a different language. The rest of dinner was different. Still awkward in places. For years doesn't disappear over turkey, but different. Samuel asked about machine learning. Adiz wanted to understand applications for medical devices. Even Uncle Emeka downloaded Clarity on his phone, marveling at how it separated his wife's voice from the background noise. You know, Kemi said as we cleared plates. I'm thinking about switching my major to computer science. Don't you dare. Aunt Chioma's voice carried from the kitchen. We need at least one more doctor in this family. I caught Kemi's eye and winked. Come talk to me later. I know some good programs. As I was leaving, my mother hugged me at the door. A real hug, not the careful one from earlier. We should have listened, she said. You couldn't have. Not really. You heard dropping out and computers, and made the only calculation that made sense with your data. I had different data. Your father saved every article, she whispered. Every mention of your company. He has a folder. He does. He never stopped being proud. He just didn't know how to show it when he thought you were making a mistake. And now he knows King David wrote psalms that last forever. Maybe code can too. I drove home to my new apartment, a penthouse with a view of the lake, though I hadn't told them that part. Thinking about family and forgiveness, about the price of being right and the cost of being wrong. My phone buzzed with a message in the family WhatsApp group I'd been quietly re-added to. David, can you help me with my computer? Uncle Emeka. 4 years of silence, ending with tech support requests. Somehow, that felt exactly right. Playing with computers, I said to the empty car, laughing. Still just playing with computers. Except now, nobody was laughing but me. And for the first time in 4 years, that included my family. The poet and the warrior, writing code instead of legal briefs, building the future one algorithm at a time. My father had named me better than he knew. I pulled into my garage, already thinking about the next idea, the next problem to solve, the next way to play with computers that might just change the world. Law school felt like a lifetime ago. In a way, it was. I'd thrown my life away, just like they'd said, and built a better one from the wreckage. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.